for the month of April, Lakunle, 22.22%. We're moving up.
As the popular cliche says, winter is coming.
Ah, Game of Thrones reference.
It's mind-boggling to see that these things are happening. Uh, we did a small survey of house rents around a particular location in Lagos. I'm not sure if I could mention. And jokingly, when by the time we went through like five, six different agents, I jokingly asked one of my friends. They said, "Wait, where are people finding this money they are paying for these houses?" So it starts from there. When a two-bedroom flat goes for as high as 3 million naira a year.
Nibo.
So if
Sorry for that. Where? I have to ask.
Uade, are you not in this Lagos?
so if I pay 3 million naira a year for a house and I offer a service, it means that it's from the service I offer that I must make that 3 million a year. So it means that my customers will pay that 3 million. So if I was doing my service as 1 naira before, I must raise it possibly to 3 naira so that I can pay that 3 million. So then the man who buys 3 naira from me will also be waiting for me somewhere else, possibly in the market, to take part of that 3 naira he's giving me back from me.
Give and take.
Exactly.
If
So
no more.
and don't forget, here we were. I think around this time last year, the floods in about 24 states of the country, where 17 of the states that produce about 70% of the food we eat were in that 24. And what was our response between then and now to food, to make sure that we have food security? You go to the hospitals, we worry about our medical personnel leaving, so we pay premium for where they are available. You go to the schools where the quality of the people who teach are dropping because they are leaving, so we go to the ones where they are still good, we pay premium. So you see, it's not just about that. It is just a price thing. It's also about the availability of whatever it is. Where we are today, it's almost unbelievable that we are still coping. I'm not sure there's any bus ride in Lagos today for 50 naira anymore.
I don't think so.
So when you take all of these things and put them together, these numbers may just be may not actually be the real thing, but it might just be an indication of how good things are and how better it can get. So for better of use of language, so let's keep it that way. So what do we then need to do? We expect a new government in under 13 days.
13 days.
We expect that the subsidy would go because all of the candidates in the election agreed, and to a large extent, a lot of us also agreed that the subsidy should go. Subsidy hasn't gone, we are here. So what are we preparing to cushion the effect of these things that would come?
$800 million loan.
And so it's scary, I won't lie to you. But of course, I would say to you that because I believe in that Nigerian spirit, like we spoke about before we went on air, right? We will get by. But then, how do we survive it? Because it is almost unhumanly possible to imagine what the man who earns 30,000 naira a month that doesn't get paid in 5, 9, 1 year, that doesn't get paid his salary in 5 months, 9 months, 1 year, how they are going to cope and survive.
But luckily, looking at Nigerians thus far, we've been getting by and getting by and getting by. But for how long do we keep on getting by?
That question is the same question all of us will ask ourselves. And then we know the right things to do. Ask our leadership the right questions. Don't let us be faced by all the demo that they all do. Ask the right questions. Follow the money. Don't take Greek gifts from them. If they say I am building a hospital for 1 billion. Let us account for it. If they say I want to build an ecumenical center for the state, let us ask the questions. What value is this going to add to us? If they say I am building a road for 1 billion naira per kilometer, we are engineers amongst us. Let us help them to do their quantity surveys. Let us help them to also do a parallel one to compare with what the contractor is giving. So we cannot keep on keeping quiet. It's our quietness, it's our indifference to a lot of government policies that has got us to where we are. We need to start challenging these things as long as in the right ways, the way the law allow us, participate. A lot of us don't even know our local government chairman. We don't know our State House Assembly representative. We don't know our Federal House of Rep people. We'll focus on the presidency. And the damage would have been done at those levels before it gets to the presidency. Look at the state of our primary schools. It's the local government that is in charge of primary schools. But we're focusing on presidency. We're not challenging the local government
instead
chairman.
of looking at those who are closest to us.
Exactly.
So Lakunle will go on this discussion till the end of the show. If you continue like this, like, you didn't even talk about the taxes that are coming.
So those are the things that we need to look at, and that's where the solution lies.
All right, thank you for that, Lakunle. Now, you can be a part of Freshly Pressed this morning by sending your messages into us via WhatsApp on 0809 444 981. You can also tweet at Smooth981FM with the hashtag Freshly Pressed 981. Now, Uade, let's talk about our doctors. Now, the federal government yesterday kicked against the bill before the National Assembly that is seeking to control the migration of doctors for greener pastures and so on abroad.
For the first time in a long time, I actually do agree with I don't know what to call him. Is it governor, senator, doctor, Ngige, minister of labor?
I second you.
You second me. On this show we bashed him so much, with ASU strike, with doctor strike, with all the strikes that happen in Nigeria. But this is the truth. He's speaking. It's against Nigerian labor laws. It's against international labor laws. It's even against the constitution because I have the free will, Ahimie, to go where I want to go, live anywhere I want to live in Nigeria, decide to go out of Nigeria, Ahimie, and so on and so forth. So when this, I don't know, Representative Ganiu Johnson, is he a doctor? Because I really need to understand, if you don't have the facilities, you don't invest. Let's even just invest in primary health care so that these doctors can get some basic, decent training. Then you will be able to tell them, but we've been training you, so stay, things will get better. You don't, and then you come and say you want to hold the average. If you go by the educational system, the average span to qualify as a doctor is 6 years for when school runs normally. It could be 8, it could be 10. Then you do a 1 year internship or housemanship.
Yes.
Then you will do a 1 year youth service. So let's say on the average is 8 years. And then you will hold on to me for another 5 years because you don't want me to leave Nigeria when I don't have the facilities to work with. And so I commend the Minister of Labor for this. He's spoken the truth about it. And I hope Representative Johnson.
You asked the question just now. Who is about what Honorable Ganiu Johnson does. So on the website of the National Assembly, nothing is listed in its educational history menu. So hopefully we hope that the National Assembly, if anybody from there is hearing us,
they will tell us
so that
they will tell us. I thank you very much. Let's move on. At least Inge has said something that brightens my day today, so I'm very glad.
All right, let's take a couple of messages here from WhatsApp. This is from Dami from Iket. Okay, no, sorry about that. This is from Cisco Delgado. He says, "Good morning, guys. Most of Nigeria's problems are from within. Lakunle, once people in this country start doing things right, we shall excel very well. My ugly experience with the NIMC office last week made me to say this. Imagine what goes on in other establishments." That's from Cisco Delgado. Tony Chima says food inflation in Nigeria is escalated by banditry, kidnapping, and ransom demands on farmers by these terrorists. This government has not done enough to deal with the issue. That's Tony from Ikeja.
Correct.
Jim says Nigerians are not getting by. Many of us are dying. We are just not reported. But one day we will explode, and then you all realize that we are not all getting by, and the actual situation will be made known. All right, thank you for your messages. Keep them coming. 0809 444 981. Let's take a look at more of the headlines that are making the rounds this morning. Now, Lakunle, let's take a look at Sudan and what's been going on there. We know that the Nigerian government has done a lot in getting Nigerians out of the country and to safety. So on Monday, the federal government gave conditions for fresh evacuation of Nigerians that are still stranded in the country. Now, this was made known by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission spokesperson Abdul Rahman Balogun. Now, it had been reported earlier that the government had ended the evacuation of Nigerians, but this update has come out now. What are your thoughts on this?
Let me first start by congratulating Nigeria and everybody involved in the evacuation of the identified and registered Nigerians who were willing to come out at the peak of the civil of the conflict in Sudan. A lot of us were anxious at the beginning as to what, how, who, whatever responsibilities and all that, but we got it done. And this also speaks to one of those things we always say about us, that when we put our mind to do things, we do them and we do them well. So we cannot leave out things like this from happening. It was a conflict that happened almost spontaneously, right? People would have gone into hiding, not sure whether they could come out, and maybe right now it's calmer now, and people are coming out to show. So under the principle of not leaving anybody behind, I think that Nigerian government should go the extra mile to get them out. And I agree with the general conditions that's been laid. You must have a means of identification that you're a Nigerian. You must make yourself, because the government will not carry the expense of bringing you from anywhere else. Find your way to a location where we would receive you, and an evidence that there's somebody in Nigeria who knows you and who is going to receive you. So basically, I think that those conditions are not too stringent for anybody who is still there. And these are things that some of the sacrifices that people also have to make up by themselves to before they become government responsibility from them. I think that we've done well with what we've done with the evacuation of Nigerians from Sudan.
All right. Well, did you have any comments on this latest updates concerning this issue?
No.
Why am I not surprised? All right, this is Freshly Pressed on Smooth 98.1. It continues after this short breather. Do stay with us.
After commenting on these things, they've tried, at least they brought most of them back home.
Huh?
I say after the fumble, they tried.
They always fumble.
No. They fumble because people must eat money. And when people eat money, the truth will come out. These things.
The while away money because
and they always, they always say it. And that they put, when they say it, so that they will say, you're working well, you put $12.3 million, and the first, to even evacuate people, you almost kill the people.
That's the problem we have with us Nigerians. We throw money at every problem and then assume that the problem is solved.
You won't do anything. You won't do anything. Just okay, release the money. You are not taking count of what are they doing, who is doing what. At the point in time, there were 3 different agencies speaking to us about how they were going to evacuate.
You're listening to Freshly Pressed on Smooth 98.1. You love music, love life station. My name is Ayo, and my analysts with me in the studio, Uade and Lakunle, and we've been looking at some of the stories making the headlines. Now, Wadi, let's take a look at a story coming out of the Punch. And the Senate has beamed its light on the vehicle allowances scandal rocking the Securities and Exchange Commission and its commissioners. Now, the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission and some commissioners were fingered to have been part of the 594 million naira vehicle allowances scandal. It seems it's always from one thing to another.
Okay, so I will take this story from two parts.
Okay.
So the first part is not to justify if a wrong has been committed, then the wrong must be really investigated, and if there is a crime or some fraud that has happened, then those parties should be investigated. If they are found culpable, taken to the court of law and tried. And then secondly, this is from a report, the auditor's report of 2018. This is 5 years after, and we only just remembered 2 weeks to the end of this ninth assembly that we're reviewing this, that they've sent them several letters. So it begs, for me, it speaks to me, or it begs to say, what exactly do you do if you're only just reviewing the 5-year report? So what the 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, maybe it's the 10th assembly that will deal with that. So they will deal with 2023 in 2027. Because that's the way I see it. And thirdly, this is a Senate or a National Assembly that have been bedeviled with issues of cars. Ninth Assembly, 6.6 billion exotic cars for senators. I mean, 8th Assembly under Saraki, issues with Saraki and his SUV bulletproof car, and 330 million, and nobody in the Senate or the Senate committee did not deem it fit to investigate all that. The 9th National Assembly, 5.5 billion was spent on cars when they came in. You know, let's remove this log from our eyes before we start to talk about the specs in other people's eyes. I'm not saying it's right, and like I said, I'm not trying to justify this, but why would it take us 5 years? If you have an oversight function, we're doing oversight of a report of 2018. What happened? Maybe next week they'll bring out the 2019. It's just ridiculous to find out that the senators sit for 4 years. They really don't pass any bills. Instead, they try to push bills like, you know, keeping doctors in Nigeria for 5 years. Schools are shut down for 8 months. Nobody says anything, you know, and then you try and justify by, you know, putting it in the news that you are investigating SEC for 594 million. You didn't investigate yourselves. You didn't investigate what's it called, the House of Reps, when all the car issues were being done. Everybody has said it this morning. Until we start doing what is meant to be done, then we're not going to move forward. We're just going to continue to have this headline news, sensational news every day. At the closure, how many days did you say is left? Like 13 days for them to end.
13 days.
And they are coming out and telling us that a 2018 report says 594 million, alleged 594 million was paid to the DG of SEC, who probably is no longer the DG of SEC now. Do you understand? And it just beats me. It just beats me.
But can't this be termed as a classic case of better late than never?
I rest my case.
All right, let's go to WhatsApp. Take a couple of your messages. This is from Okuda, and he says, "Good morning, crew. The docility of the average Nigerian to the happenings in governance is largely responsible for the impunity that reigns within the government." All right, this is from Fabian, and he says, "Well said, Lakunle. I hope the National Assembly will pass legislation preventing themselves, the Senate, and other government officials, as well as their families, from traveling out for medical treatment available here on government-paid expenses. This will go a long way to improve healthcare in Nigeria." Thank you for your message, Fabian. Danny says, a bit of a stretch to call the conflict in Sudan spontaneous. The fact that we didn't have plans in place for evacuations around the world calls into question the competence of our foreign service.
But we do have, we did one in Liberia, even in 1990, that we did not act on time is a different matter. That, but we don't have an evacuation policy, I don't think is correct.
All right, thank you for that, Lakunle. Victor says Nigerian lawmakers should grow up and see beyond serving themselves with cars and houses. Life is bigger than these things. All right, thank you for your messages. Keep them coming. 0809 981. All right, let's check out another story here, and this is from the Daily Post now. Lakunle, let's talk education. And despite complaints of proliferation of universities in Nigeria, the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has approved the licensing of 37 new universities in the country. Now, I know that Nigeria needs more universities, yes, but is approving 37 new universities what is needed right now, bearing in mind the current state of the universities that we have right now?
My passion, comme ça, like they say in France. This matter, you look at it from two perspectives. We are all generally agreeable to say that tertiary education, or rather, let's focus, university education is not necessarily for everybody. That's one point. That government cannot on its own, or as a matter of fact, at the extreme, should ordinarily have no business in funding university education.
Okay.
That's another point. That how many people wrote UTME this last one? 4 million? 3 million? 2 million? That all the universities we have in Nigeria today, 117 or 170, I off the top of my head, maybe one plus public and private, cannot accommodate all of those 2 million people. That's another point. By the time you put all of this together, right, you will find an argument to say it is okay to give these licenses to private investors to start universities. Then it goes to the other side of it. What is the cost, the minimum cost to set up a university in Nigeria today? I know someone in this Nigeria. I still spoke with him. It was his birthday on May 9th. I still spoke with him, who has a license for a private university. He's setting it up in Osun State. And he's been at it for the past 7 years or thereabout. He needs 4 billion naira to put up the structures that will get him the first provisional accreditation to start. So these 37 new licenses presupposes that there are 37 individuals or organizations who have 4 billion to start.
If they've added one, there's an online university in it.
Okay, so let's focus on the physical one that we are accustomed with.
Let's
right
start from there.
So it presupposes that there is, if what this person tells me is correct, it presupposes that there are 37 individuals or organizations who have 4 billion each to start a university. No problem, it's good. What it then means is that we create more opportunity for our 3 million children who wrote UTME to have university education. It means that government has a window of escape from spending more money in their existing universities. So the pressure on government to put more money in university education will reduce. Then we'll focus government to put pressure on government to focus more on primary education and the first 9 years. Let's even focus on the first 9 years, the UBE, Abby, right? So then it now comes to the other thing then that, okay, so when you get this degree from the university, what do you do with them? That's the fourth point where we started from. That university education is ordinary enough for everybody. But we're so much focused on university education that that's where we're spending 4 billion times 37. We're sending 3 million children. Where and so it's for me, it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just a matter of, for me, a matter of priority. I want my children to go to university.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I want. But what does my child want? That's another aspect of
That's a
it again
great
that we're not
question.
looking at. We're probably overlooking that we are creating all these universities. We're sending all of them to the university, sending all of them to university. Do these children want to go to university? Would that fit into the situation where we're today? What are they going to study in that place? What's the point in creating without trying to downplay the importance of certain courses? Yep. What's the point in creating a department where you go to study, say, don't let me mention any other random course? Are we focusing on those things that Nigeria needs today?
But
Engineering, agriculture, the STEMs, are those universities that we are creating now, are they focused on those things? People are talking about artificial intelligence today, agricultural research. Are those the things that the universities are focusing on? If they are not, my brother, is a waste of our time and money.
I was also going to ask this, that okay, it's a good thing to have more universities so that at least the number of students or number of our children who want the education, 3 million and so on, can actually get it. But we also need to ask ourselves, how do we guarantee that these universities are going to even give top-notch education to start with? I mean, if 37 individuals or bodies can come out and say, oh, we have the money, the funding to create universities, how do we guarantee that what they're even churning out is of quality? Another question to ask.
That's something, it came to my mind. Do we have enough lecturers? Do we have enough teachers? Do we have it's a whole cycle, and at the end of the day, I'm never against the creation of universities, but let's also look at, like you said, it spoke about the infrastructure. And infrastructure goes beyond the physical building. There are online universities today that people attend across the world, get a degree, get a certificate, and so on. So we need to look at it. What's the quality of people that are going to be lecturing there? Do you have enough people who are willing to sacrifice their time to give the average Nigerian the quality education that he requires for him to be able to think, for him to be able to make decisions? Because like I always say, going to a university is good, but is that necessarily going to help you make the right decisions? It will expand your horizons from research and thinking and creating ideas. And but do we even have the quality of people, enough quality people who would help you, expose your mind and expand your thinking? And that's, let me just leave it at that.
All right, let me rush through some messages here. This is from that one. He says it's only people with some guilty conscience or the other about having exploited their neighbors' rights and taking advantage of other people that are concerned about their acute safety and whether they ride about or not in bulletproof vehicles. If you've done no wrong, why should I be worried about someone trying to harm me? Cisco Delgado said, those universities are out for business or making money, not quality education. Fabian says, my concern or question is where these universities will get the lecturers to teach in these schools, and if there are jobs for the children available after they graduate.
Exact
Presently,
concerns.
even the federal and state universities and polytechnics have satellite campuses in several locations. That is from Fabian. And Godwin says, if these 37 universities are private, then it is good. The federal government should not create any university, let them fund the existing ones. And on that note, gentlemen, we've come to the end of Freshly Pressed. Thank you so much, Uade and Lakunle, for joining me this morning to take a look at the stories.
Thank you for having us in the studio.
Thank you.
All right, keep listening to Smooth 98.1. Still more to come at 8:15. We'll get right into the grapevine for the best of entertainment news. Stay with us.